Hey guys, this video is a shout out to Essex, UK, because I got a question from Essex about Caiques parrots. When you guys post either on YouTube or on my social media, I love hearing where you're from. Even if it's just from Florida, it's just really cool to hear because today's world is just so connected. It's really, really awesome. All right, so we're talking about how long parrots live. I have Eclipse and Tawny on my shoulders. Tawny is young. Eclipse is about a year and a half. Tawny is, she hatched at the end of April, beginning of May. So she is like 12 minus 5, 7 months. Wow, she's young. You're so young. You're a young baby. I love all of my parrots. I have over 22 species. This is one of my species, my white-bellied Caiques. And I love sharing about them so that you can have a blissful bond too. Now, how long do parrots really live? First of all, I have done a video before, and so I will put a link in the video. Second of all, you know, a parrot's longevity depends strongly on two things. Number one, the biggest killer that causes them to have fatty liver disease. As per my avian vet, he said that that's the most common problem. And number two, which is parrots having accidents. So when you look at a parrot's longevity, no doubt, like my friend in Essex, you find that there's contradictory information. And you're like, what am I supposed to believe? When it comes to that contradictory information, I want you to keep in mind that when people give the top age for a parrot, which for something like a white-bellied Caique or a black-headed Caique is probably around 40 years, I want you to take that number in stride because that is totally assuming that everything goes well, they're super healthy, and they live out to their maximum. I mean, there are also humans that live to be 120, right? It may be rare, but there are centenarians that live to be 100, and there are some that live even more. Common? Likely? No. So when we look at 40 for white-bellied Caique, I would say the same. Common and likely? No. I haven't really heard of a Caique being 30. I've heard of people with Caiques in their teens or their 20s. But one reason for that is because when people first get their parrot, they're really excited. They might join a group, they post, they find out about it, which is awesome. It should be that way. But when they get into a routine, they get to know their parrot, things change, and they're not so excited, they're not sharing so much anymore. So one of the things that happens is that people with older Caiques may simply not be as active. So I don't hear about 30-year-olds. Again, that doesn't mean that they don't exist. But I do think that that would be, you know, a pretty old Caique kind of thing. So how long should you expect your Caique to live? Well, if you're super careful, because the number one killer, I believe, is accidents. Like someone opens the front door, the Caique flies out the window, and you never see them again. Or someone closes a door and the Caique gets smushed. Or the dog comes in and gets the bird. You know, there are a lot of different things like that that can happen. When your parrot is safely in the cage that has like an appropriate cage for your parrot, they're more likely to be fine, but that's not a life. Of course, you have a parrot so that you can bring them out, so you can spend time with them, so that they can climb on your head. And so it's really like key to let them out and let them play. But at that point, it's really important to parrot-proof your home. Make sure you're not using Teflon, or really, really watch the temperature. Make sure you're not using oven cleaner. There are a lot of things that can really cause an accident even when the parrot's not really involved. And so it's important to do things like my book, like my friend in Essex did. I also have novels, other books on parrots, and learn as much as you can so that you can be as careful as possible. If your parrot doesn't have an accident, The second and biggest problem is fatty liver disease. In the next video, I will talk about what causes fatty liver disease in parrots, because that's super important. Like I said, my avian vet, who is a superhero vet, she's been in the world of parrots for 40 years. She's just beyond an expert. She said that that's the number one problem that does parrots in as they age. Not necessarily get old, but just age. So make sure to keep your parrot on a really healthy diet. When people do things like give their parrot pizza, it doesn't hurt your parrot right away. You're not going to see the damage that gets done a little teeny bit at a time that gets done over time. Make sure that you don't give your parrots what you consider to be junk food, anything processed, anything out of a bag, anything like that. A parrot should have a nice, healthy diet that is very similar to what they would have in the wild. And so that means fresh vegetables. I'm not against pellets when they're a part of a balanced diet. Fresh vegetables, I give these guys, oh, come here, Tawny. Things like walnuts, because that's a great snack. It's a beneficial snack. It's healthy. They love it. And it is only a little part of their diet. Little icing on the cake kind of thing. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me in this blissful video. Keep in mind, like I said, when you see how long a parrot lives online and you see all sorts of contradictory information, it kind of goes by size. Smaller parrots are going to live to be usually 20 or 30 at best. Medium-sized parrots like these guys, they're going to live to be probably 15 to like 40, but 40's like, it might be one parrot out of 100, out of 200. I don't know. It's not very common. Probably the average is going to be around 20, 25 if they don't have an accident and they're well taken care of. Larger parrots, depending on the species, they're going to live to be around 50-ish. Amazons are some of the longest lived. Cockatoos are some of the longest lived, and so are macaws. And so those guys are going to be 50, 60, 70. But again, that's only under fabulous circumstances. So make sure to give your parrot fabulous circumstances. See you next time. Questions or comments down below. And make sure if you liked it to give us one of these.